Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Mohammed Isa. I'd like to welcome you all to BRIMBANK Live FM, and the name of your show is Real Talk. Joining me today is my panelists, Simon, Ethan, and Chairman. And wait for it, we have our special guest from Victoria Police, Sergeant Stephen Turner. Welcome, Steve.
G'day, thanks guys.
Interestingly, prior to joining Brimbank City Council about 9 months ago, I heard a lot about Steve before I actually met this guy. The fact that a lot of young people were talking about Steve Turner, Steve does this, Steve does that, I'm like, I gotta meet him. Then I finally met him. I'm like, wow, Steve, you got a lot of muscles, man. Is that why the young people are talking? Is that why the young people are talking about you like that? Because they don't want to mess with you. Then I actually got to realize is the fact that Steve does amazing work with young people and reaches out to young people from where they're at. And I suppose my first question would be, so guys, does anyone want to tell me why you all got mad respect for Steve?
Going basketball and stuff, like programs like that. He was always there.
Nice one.
If they get in trouble, just go straight to him.
I cannot shy away from the fact that Simon mentioned pizza.
Yeah,
Because
nah,
see, even
that-
me as an African, we love free food. You know, it must be the same with you.
Straight up. Look at me.
I think it's
Yeah, but
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really good. Anybody else?
no. I think it's like there's not that many officers that'll do things like this. You know, most of them are all invested in their job, and you know they just put their time into their job and then go home when they can. But I think because Steve actually takes time out of his day to actually want to help young people. You know, people that actually need
Wow,
it. Like
that's
I was one of them.
That's deep.
You know, and it's.
That's real deep.
It's good to have someone, not only like a police officer, but to have him as a friend as well. Yeah,
Right.
it's
That's deep.
Careful, the tears will start.
And I'm sure, Steve, you never actually thought that these young people and a lot of young people actually think of you in that light. It must be, I suppose, it must be heartwarming for you to hear this.
Oh, it's lovely hearing the guys speak like this. I thought they hated me. So
give it to him.
Well, they might, but when they look at those muscles, they quickly change their mind.
Can be scared and that.
Yeah, and I do think, Charming, that is really deep because it's about finding people that go the extra mile. It's one thing to do a job, but it's one thing to do your job with a passion in making a difference, and that's what going the extra mile really means. Well, I suppose Steve, from my side, is more like I know you've been involved in a lot of programs within Brimbank City Council, boxing program, basketball, soccer, and so many other amazing programs. Would you like to talk to us about some of those?
yeah, definitely. So my job is I'm a uniformed police sergeant out of Sunshine. So we're bloody busy,
Yeah.
and it is very busy, the day-to-day stuff. But I guess the extra stuff that I do with under the PCYC umbrella, it's a police youth club. Excuse me. That's focusing on engaging with the kids on the street. So, going where the action is, finding the kids that might be getting themselves into trouble or hanging out, which might lead to them getting into trouble, and coming up with things that they might want to do.
Nice.
PCYC has been running for a long time, and it's very popular in New South Wales. They've got hundreds of clubs up there. I got involved around 2017.
Nice.
PCYC was about to be shut down. I was of the understanding, and I was a newly promoted sergeant in the area.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'm not going anywhere for a couple of years. How about we keep it going and see what we can do? And I'll tell you, working with the people like Glenn Cook at Council, Damo Lindich as well, Glenn, and then Shane Williams, Weiss, Hannah Clark, Jarawara,
Nice one.
Riak from he's now at CMY.
Yeah.
Look, they're the guys that make it work. Like, it's not just me, it's that collaborative approach, and it's worked really well. Like, sitting here now with these guys with a little bit of respect coming over this way makes me feel bloody awesome, guys. Like, You know, when we first met, I don't think they spoke to me for about 6 months.
Coronavirus.
Well, you
Coronavirus.
you don't want to hear my experience when I also met him, huh?
But I think having programs that are ongoing and sustainable and sustained, something that isn't just an 8-week program, something that goes on for a year or two. I think we're into our 3rd year now for the basketball.
Wow.
And I think that's where you make the connections, where people actually get to know you and say, oh, maybe you're not an arsehole.
Nice one.
With the reaching out to young kids, is that like how did you do that, or or was the program already set and there was other people because the reason we got into basketball was because Glenn was just sitting at the station and he was handing out like flyers and he's like, "Oh, come down to basketball." Like, is it? Because I know Glenn did that for us. Is it the same for when you were reaching out to for the other programs?
Yeah, look, each of the programs PCYC do, West PCYC, we've got 5 programs running now. But yeah, the whole point was not working just police on their own, but out with the youth workers. So Glenn's, BRIMBANK Youth Services.
Yep.
Hannah is a youth service, so's YSS and CMY. Like, when you work with these guys, their actual job is to get out there, boots on the ground, and engage with these kids. Or you kids, you're not kids anymore. but the younger guys, and so the whole idea is, okay, we know there was issues at Water Gardens. We had some problems there. All right, well, what can we do about it? Let's actually get something running. You guys are hanging around the shops getting yourselves in trouble.
Chiming.
So, all right, we'll set up a program right there, right in the thick of it, and send the youth workers out to actually say, hey, guys, how about you come over here instead and give you something to do?
Yeah.
All right, and try and help you out. And while you're there, we've got, Hannah and the other services there saying, all right, you're here now. Do you need any help with anything? And I reckon that's a really good way to do things. We're engaging with the guys on the street, get them in while you're there, try and help you out.
That is very beautiful. It's a really beautiful approach because, one, you've talked about collective impact, the impact of actually bringing all the services providers together. And what I heard you say that really got me excited is the fact that it's a bottom-up approach. It's not a top-down approach. It's putting the young people as being the agents in terms of knowing what best their needs are. And that only comes through relationship building, communicating with them, and then understanding the areas they need assistance with. Which leads me to, I want to get an idea of, you've been involved in this for the last 3 years or so. And for me, it's only been about 9 months or so. And probably, what does success look like for you so far? Well, what are the impacts of what you've been doing? Clearly, you can look at them, their faces shining, but we'll probably need more than that.
So many
than
smiles.
pretty faces.
Look, from a policing point of view, things get measured on stats. And if I got asked, how do you show the impact that you're having? If you're talking about crime stats and things like that, it's very hard to do that. But if you go another way and look at case studies or case by case, one of the last events we had over 100 young people turn up, which was at the start of the year.
Beautiful.
That was
really
awesome.
Beautiful.
I loved it. And again, that's not just me. That's all the other services helping out. But when you grab some of these people and say, okay, let's look at this person. He was doing robberies or he was stealing or whatever. But hopefully we've helped. But since this time, this person is now doing this or working or re-engaged back into school, not getting in trouble anymore. And that's where I get passionate, I guess, is, if I'm at work and I look up a person and I see, okay, they've been arrested 50 times before, right? And I look through and go, well, there's 50 chances we had to try and steer them another way. And I think we get right in at the start. You guys are getting in trouble. Let's try and help you out of that.
Absolutely. That is beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
I heard you're saying that you're very passionate about this. Where do you find that passion from? What makes you want to do this?
A few things.
Not just one.
Look, when I was younger, I was getting into trouble. I was doing things that weren't very good and weren't right. And I had a few people help me out back then. And then now that I'm a copper, I have that opportunity to kind of pay that forward a bit.
Yeah.
And I really look at that sometimes, like if I go back to certain points, if I kept going that way, where would I be right now? Whereas now, I've got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, lovely house. I love everything about what I'm doing. My parents too, like they've been volunteering with youth and the like for as long as I can remember. They run a youth service out of the Melton, the Gap on Graham. They started off one of the street server outreach buses, and they've got no connection to police or services. They just thought, oh, this is something that's needed out in Melton when I was growing up. So that's definitely been a huge effect of why I do what I do as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you always want to be a copper growing up?
No.
Please. So tell us a little bit more. What was your aspiration growing up as a child? And
I wanted to be a chef. I thought I was going to be awesome.
oh wow, really?
I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 25.
We've all got the same dreams.
But I'm almost 40 now. I need to change it to 45 maybe. No. When I was younger, first I thought maybe I was going to be a pilot. Because I was in the Air Force Cadets at the time. I loved that. That was awesome. And then going through school, I had some issues and some hard stuff happening. And then I guess my focus just went more towards being a bit more creative. I ended up being a graphic designer for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, logos, business cards, websites, all that kind of stuff. And then got to about 2007 and I'm like, well, a bit bored now. What do I do now? So I started looking on the internet. I'm like, all right, what can I do that pays okay, the super's okay, and the holidays are good? I was going, okay, maybe a police officer, or maybe a teacher. Oh, well, I'm not going back to school for 4 years. So I'll see how police officer goes. And I'll tell you, I love it. It's such a good job.
That's amazing. It's really interesting to hear your life experiences as a young boy, your aspiration about being a pilot and graphic design to police officer. They're worlds apart.
Yeah.
But I'd also think that, I suppose, from my perspective as a social worker, maybe that's what makes you great at what you do. Using art, creative art in your line of work potentially is what it's actually driving this amazing work that you're doing.
Appreciate that.
And a teacher. Wow. I know that the person here at recording us was a former teacher as well, and now is heavily involved in, again, creative art, music, and podcasting, and all these sort of amazing projects he's been doing with young people. So I suppose for all the young people that are out there, this is to show that it doesn't matter where you start from. There's always opportunity. It doesn't matter what you dreamt of being and what you became. The good thing is we're in a society whereby opportunity is given to us, and through support, whether it's a BRIMBANK Council, we got your mentoring, or the house program, or the basketball program, or all the initiatives that are out there, there is something that can assist you to reach your full potential, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and with that, becoming a cop, because there was already an image back then with, like from the American standpoint, like with NWA saying if the police and that, obviously everyone's gonna want to copy and, try it. Just because you guys are cops, you already have a bad image on yourselves already, like from part of the community. I used to be like that. I didn't even know any coppers, and I'll just walk around playing NWA, like if you, I'll just walk past you and I'll just, but like obviously now, there's good people, like there's good people in every industry, including like where the cops are from.
Even coppers?
Even coppers.
Yeah, and is it I'm like, I feel like it would be, but is it a challenge, just being a cop with all the hate that you get, even if he's a A grade cop, is, you never did anything wrong. Yeah. Like, is it like
I know what you're saying, man, and absolutely there's a lot of that. And it depends on where you're at and who you're dealing with. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I guess sometimes I walk down the street if I'm dressed in uniform. Might be a group of people looking at me and just walk the other way, or won't even look at you. Or if they do look at you, it's staring you down, or I come back to the other side. I do what I think is a good job in the community. I work really hard, and like I've said, I'm very passionate about that. So I take a lot of heart out of that. And you really do have to remember, like when I'm working and I'm out on the road driving around, I'm getting called 000 calls and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to the 1% of the community that are either getting themselves in trouble or are in trouble, and you really have to remember sometimes, there's a whole another 99% of people that are just going about their lives, doing nothing wrong, living their lives. And when they see me or when they see a uniform, they're the ones that are smiling, saying thank you, that kind of stuff. But the people I see most are the other 1%.
Different story.
But yeah, sorry, I think I answered that.
And I do think what Chairman was saying, it's a really good point, because unfortunately, growing up as a young person myself and around hip hop, that's the one thing you get to hear. But then again, a lot of that experience is based on another country. And coming to my country and other countries similar to mine, whereby we have a bad image of people in uniform. We have a bad image of people with authority, not because of what we've experienced mainly here, but also what we've experienced in the countries we're coming from. So we come with fear of authorities already. And I suppose some of the projects you run already address this issue in terms of trying to break down that barrier. Are you able to talk to us specifically around, some of your work or the work of the force in terms of addressing this trauma we all carry in terms of, I suppose, a positive image of police force? For my part, it took me a while to get here, but now that I'm here, I'm a big advocate for that percentage that are doing the right thing.
Yeah. No, absolutely, Mohammed, and you're right. Like, there's a lot of police forces in other parts of the world that are very different to the one we have, and I think we're all very lucky to live where we live and work where we work. And I think it is about engagement and trying to break down those barriers. Like some of these programs that we do, the soccer and the basketball, the boxing. Some of those people don't speak English, or but you don't need to play these kind of things, and you're still interacting with these services and the police. I think it's important to keep some kind of engagement going and being aware of people's backgrounds.
Absolutely.
When I speak to people out on the street, I'm acutely aware that either some of them don't like me or some of them are scared of me because of I'm a copper. And it's just the way you approach things, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steve,
Hello.
being the police officer you are, do you have anything to say to young youth that are trying to become a cop?
The want to be a copper?
Yeah.
Stay in school.
Are you asking that question for yourself? I can see you 20 years from now.
What, behind the cell?
Look, absolutely. Like I said, I love my job, and it took me a long time to become a cop. I joined at 29, so I didn't start straight away, and some people start earlier and younger. My advice, I don't know, like, to be blunt, totally honest, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
There's some of the stuff that I do or see day to day. You might go to a bad car crash. You might go to someone that's been stabbed. You might go to someone that's taken their own life. These are things that stay.
Yeah.
You really do need to have a certain type of character or temperament to be able to deal with that kind of stuff. I went to quite a serious incident a couple of weeks ago. I didn't sleep for a few days afterwards.
Wow.
Okay. But, I've been in the job 10 years now, and I know that's part of my process. I know that, okay, after that, I'm not going to sleep well for a few days. I'm going to get a bit narky with the kids for a day or two. Then I'll come good. Yeah. But I would say that if it is something that you're considering, to really look at it, because it is a good job. And the thing about Victoria Police is there's so many different avenues of things you can do. If you're interested, in the media, you can go to the media unit. If you like engaging with people, you can go to the proactive unit. If you want to be boots on the ground copper, then you stay in general duties uniform like I have. Be a first responder. I love it.
Love it.
I do. I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't doing this right now.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, probably stay at home and play video games.
What are the challenges of being a police officer in Victoria?
A big question.
How long have we got?
Well,
No, there are challenges, and they range. I mean, one of them, like I just said, is about some of the stuff that you go to. But that's not just in Victoria. That's as a copper. Like, some of the jobs I go to are pretty crappy, you know, and they're going to stay with you forever. Aside from that, like if you're talking about what are the other stresses and things, I mean, just the bloody paperwork, man.
Paperwork.
You know, if I arrest you, I've got a couple of hours worth of paperwork back home, you know, or back in the office.
If you're a chum.
I've got 5 hours.
This guy's fighting.
5 hours. Probably take you 2 days for chum.
But, you know, so there's a lot of it. There's the day-to-day stuff. I'm going out to a job that we get called to. You know, what are the stresses there? The paperwork's a big one. As a police sergeant, I'm a supervisor, so I'm in charge of all the cars that are out patrolling. So, you know, if I've got a serious assault that's happened one end of the area and there's a car crash over here and someone's just stolen something over here, to manage all of that and run it at once, that's stressful, you know. Luckily, we only do that, you know, once or twice a week, usually. So you get that downtime in between to catch up on your paperwork. The other stresses is the shift work. You know, I just finished night shift on Sunday, so I've been working through the night. I work 2 days today. I've got a few days off, and then I'll do, you know, an afternoon, a morning, and whatever. So that's stressful and can be quite difficult. But it's the work-life balance, man. You got to be able to relax. You know, I'll sit on, go out in the garden, mow the lawns, and
nice one.
draw a few pictures. I had a sock wrestle with the kids the other day. We were wrestling around trying to grab each other's socks off. It's actually fun with a 5 and 6 year old. They actually,
Chum, you want to play?
but yeah, it's just having those ways to wind down.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
important.
I think, Steve, just hearing you explain some of the challenges that occurs in your job, it's nothing people actually know without having a discussion with a police officer. So for some of our listeners watching us, this is real talk, guys. You know, any job is challenging, but for those people wearing uniform, their job is even more challenging, putting their lives at risk for us. And I know as a social worker, there have been encounters that I've also had with police in terms of people wanting to do things to themselves, or some challenges happening in a home, and these people have to put themselves out there. And from what you've also described, there's a lot of trauma that you probably get to witness, and from your experience as well around how you deal with things, what would you say the mechanism for the police force in supporting people or officers that are experiencing this? What other support mechanisms are available for you and members?
For police officers?
Correct.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit actually, and it has changed a lot over the last few years for the better.
That's good.
Chief Commissioner Graham Ashton has done a lot of work with regarding mental health. Victoria Police did a mental health review 2017. They came out with some recommendations which are getting pushed along. We have a program at work, so if we attend a critical incident or something serious, we get put on this program, and it notifies our line supervisor to touch base with us every few days or a couple of weeks. We have access to our own psychologists at work, and so if we want to sit down with someone, we can certainly book that in. It doesn't cost us anything. And we also have at Sunshine an initiative where a police psychologist will come out to the members and sit down. She'll come out once a month, and anyone that wants to go and sit with her and have a chat, absolutely welcome to. So there is that, and then there's other counselling services available to Victoria Police, you know, for your family and extended family if you need to as well. So there are services available. I guess the police force's challenge is encourage members to use these services more.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, there still is stigma around accessing mental health services.
Absolutely.
You know, I for one have sat down with the psychologist and talked about what's going on and what my problems are. I've got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's important though, and I try and encourage my members at the station to do the same. And I think it comes from you know, management level down. You know, I'm not a high manager; I'm a sergeant, but that means I'm looking after quite a few members. We've got over 100 members out of Sunshine. You know, and a lot of them are quite young. You know, and to actually give them my experience and say, look, I've been to these pretty shitty jobs. but this is what's available. I've used it and I find it helps. Maybe you should too.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
And I do think it is very important, particularly the methodology you've just described. And you're talking from a first experience. You know, I've been through this, and if you're going through this, please get help. I think it's very powerful because, especially within, I don't know, I'm not a police officer, but I can only imagine that people will be feeling, I'm a police officer, I should be able to deal with this, you know. So for police officers out there that think like that, please, you do not need to be a hero when it comes to your mental well-being. Get the support you need. If you don't know how, reach out to Steve, okay? We'll put his details online so you can reach out to him and he can tell you all about the wonderful psychologists that are out there so you can also get the assistance that you need. And for me personally, I've been having the pleasure of meeting a number of Pacifica police officers lately and a number of African police officers. And I can tell you that every time I see a person of color in uniform, I just get excited. Because 20 years ago when I came to Australia, I never seen something like that, you know, and these days I'm seeing it, I'm like, wow, we've come a long way. Not that there's still a long way to go, but it is also important that we acknowledge that the commitment in which we've made. And I suppose, Simon, you keep tapping me on the shoulder.
Me?
Please ask that question. I'm tired of you tapping me on the shoulder.
So sorry about that, you know?
Sorry about that.
What is the exciting part of being a police officer?
An exciting part. Oh, jeez. We don't say half price Maccas, do we?
Oh, do you get half price?
No. I should say something about the fulfillment I get and the joy from my job. Look, no doubt the adrenaline rushes you get, and you do. I mean, if I get called to a serious incident, straight away that heart's going. You know, you've got that adrenaline dump, or you know, you've got a serious offender who you're trying to contain or negotiate with, and you know, that's, as much as it's not fun excitement, you still get that adrenaline going, and you do have to learn to control that as well. So I guess there's that, the jobs that we go to in the fast-paced environment, and that's one of the reasons I've stayed where I am in general duties uniform. It's being that first responder. And that's, you know, being first on scene, being first called out, you know, you're there right in the heart of the moment. Whereas if I chose to go and maybe do another attack, you know, you might be investigating after the fact, or you might be coming in and doing crime scene services or dusting for prints and stuff. That doesn't excite me. What excites me is being there in the heart of it. And also looking for ways to try and do something different that might have a better effect than what we're doing right now. Like I said, you know, with the mental health review that Vic Pol has done, you know, they're steering things in the right direction, I think. And I look at other areas and areas within Victoria Police, how we deal with young people and the engagement programs we do, and I think there's a lot of fantastic work. But I think we can do better. I think there's a lot we can do differently or to change or more in this area, personally, and that's something that I'm really excited about to try and work on. Yeah.
Well, if you're hiring, let me know. Who else? I hear they pay well. Simon, you want to be a copper? I
Be
suppose.
a copper? Nah, don't wait. You say this now and end up like 20 years later, I'm a copper.
Yeah, actually, fact check. Never say never, because we never know. Just like Steve, from a pilot to being a police officer. Well, I suppose you're not driving planes, but you're driving police cars, and hopefully you get to drive them fast from time to time.
It's definitely a job you get to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Driving through red lights and everything, yeah?
All right. Now we know we can never let him into the force. This is live, all right? People know your face and they know your name, okay? They know if you get in, you just want to drive cars, all right? So take a chill pill, please.
Is it scary
What?
being a police officer? Is it scary being a police officer?
You ever get like shot at?
Yeah, have you ever been shot at before?
Oh, luckily, I haven't.
Have you ever jumped in a car to like dodge the bullets? Like those movies?
Somebody's
this guy?
watching
Like this
too
guy?
much superhero movies.
Matrix this guy.
If you were like to try to dodge a bullet, would you try to do like that?
Oh, you'd have to. You'd have to move like they do.
Yeah. Are you flexible enough?
I can. Nah. Look, yeah, of course course it can be bloody scary. And I have practiced a couple of bonnet rolls. I think I'm getting good at it too. But the new divvy vans, the Colorados, you really got to jump up. It can be real scary, you know. But that's something you've got to try and control. And I guess what I was getting at before with the adrenaline rush and when I'm scared and I do get scared is really having to have that presence of mind to be able to slow that down and take a breath and go, all right, shit, what am I dealing with? Especially now, like last few years I've been a supervisor, so sergeant. I'm directing other people. I'm throwing other people on the front line and saying, you go do this. That's,
so you gotta protect yourself.
I'll tell you, that's more scary. You know, when I'm asking other people to go take a risk, that's scary. And I absolutely, put a lot of weight in that.
Have you ever like been in a job where you like froze or something?
Froze.
Yeah. I had I had to do CPR on a guy that had been shot. Yeah. And he was bleeding out. And I froze for a few seconds there, definitely. Wow. That was shit. Yep. Other types of freezing, like usually if if I'm getting asked something on the radio and I don't know what to say and I need a second, I'll be like, sorry, I missed that. Can you go again? and just take a second, you know? Because the job can be full on. Like we're dealing with anything. That's the good and bad about my job is I go to work and I have no idea what's about to happen. Roll a dice. It could be a car crash today. It could be someone just committed suicide. It could be a family violence job where mum and dad have been hurting each other in front of the kids. So much crap, and how do you deal with each of these things?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, on that note, Steve.
On the light note,
I do think, honestly, that being frontline is tough, and how you navigate through that process is equally important. And today we've not only hear how you navigate through that process, but we've also heard some of the challenges facing police officers. And I know you and I have been having a discussion around some potential programs we might want to do in the coming months or years. Would you like to talk to us about what you have in the pipeline?
Oh, wow. I'll be here for ages. I'll get really excited about it. I mentioned PCYC before. Yeah. And that's a collaboration of like 9 different services and everyone's got ideas and, it's been going really well. So at the moment, in BRIMBANK, we have the basketball program that runs and that's just expanded with the help of yourself through to the soccer that we're now doing. And also I think we're going to be adding in rugby, hopefully.
Nice.
So that's just the Sydenham project. I'm hoping through a collaboration and we actually expand to 3 boxing programs as well soon. And that hopefully will be Kielba, Derrimut and Delahaye, hopefully. I won't say too much about that because it's still to be talked about properly. So they're the ones that we've got just locally. And then Melton has a good boxing program that's been running for over a year. Hopefully that's going to expand soon and look at a basketball program down that way as well. Hopefully another basketball program down Derrimut way would be great. And then we've got programs just set up in Altona and Wyndham, so Werribee. Beautiful. So probably at the moment we've got about 5 programs running. I'd like to double that in the next 6 to 12 months.
No pressure.
No pressure. But the beauty of it is with all the services that are there, I'm not doing all the work. Everyone's coming together and set these programs up. And so that's the PCYC programs. And then there's work Vic Polo doing as well to look at how we engage with people and do that better.
Yeah. I know within the neighborhood house unit, we've also been exploring the possibility of doing boxing as well. And where that location is, we don't know yet. So I suppose if you're also having those discussions with those partners, it might be good to explore how we all put our eggs in one basket and best target, target the program.
Yeah.
And on that note as well, I would also like to perhaps explore for any young person watching us right now that do not know how to become a police officer or do not know where to go about getting information around them wanting to become a police officer, where would you direct them to?
The Victoria Police website has a lot of information about how to apply to be a copper, and the different process and what's involved, what the fitness requirements are, and it has a whole list of what the pay is and what the super is and what the holidays are.
The pay. I saw you smile when you said the pay.
Well, I just assumed everyone would be interested. But yeah, or obviously anyone can contact me, and I'll happily have a chat with anyone that does.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. And this is Real Talk, broadcasting from Water Garden Shopping Centre, Sydenham Neighbourhood House. I'd like to say thank you to our special guest, Sergeant Steve Turner from Victoria Police, and the entire police force for the amazing work that they're doing. I'd like to thank our panelists, Charmin, Ethan, and Simon. This has been an exciting time, and no doubt we look forward to catching up with you guys at one of Steve's programs or when you become a police officer. Remember my face. Do not arrest me, okay?
BSB and account number.
Put it down here, right here.